Most disturbing interviews with evil people. In this spine-tingling exploration, we delve into the realm of the most disturbing interviews with evil people. What drives these individuals to commit heinous acts that defy comprehension? How do they rationalize their actions? And what happens when we dare to confront them face to face, peering into the abyss of their twisted souls? So let's get started. Number 1. Richard Ramirez. First, let's talk about the dark and twisted world of Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, a notorious American serial killer who unleashed terror upon the streets of Los Angeles during the 1980s. Born on February 29, 1960 in El Paso, Texas, Ramirez emerged from a troubled upbringing, heavily influenced by his cousin, a Vietnam War veteran with a disturbing penchant for recounting his gruesome wartime exploits. The seeds of evil took root within Ramirez's mind, fueled by his macabre fascination with the occult and Satanism. In the mid-1980s, he embarked on a chilling assassination spree that claimed the lives of 15 innocent people, leaving countless others injured in his wake. His victims were chosen at random, and their homes transformed into nightmarish crime scenes as Ramirez unleashed his sadistic tendencies, mutilating those unfortunate enough to cross his path. Satanic symbols left behind served as a sinister calling card, a chilling testament to the depths of his depravity. During his attacks, Ramirez would even bellow, "Hail Satan," a disturbing mantra that sent shivers down the spines of his victims. As Ramirez's trial captivated the public's attention, he showcased an utter lack of remorse and displayed bizarre behavior within the courtroom's walls. Drawing pentagrams on his palm and shouting "Hail Satan" became his grotesque theatrics, further solidifying his reputation as an unhinged and remorseless soul. Curiously, Ramirez also cultivated a disturbing fan base of young women who were inexplicably drawn to his dark and brooding persona. One of Ramirez's most bone-chilling quotes surfaced during his trial, when he audaciously proclaimed, "We are all evil in some form or another, are we not? Serial criminals do, on a small scale, what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times." This audacious statement revealed his twisted attempts to justify his heinous acts and portray himself as a mere byproduct of a corrupt and violent society. The media and law enforcement interpreted Ramirez's behavior and statements as clear indicators of his psychotic nature, devoid of empathy or remorse. He was ultimately found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death. However, the grip of justice would not tighten around him, as Ramirez succumbed to complications from cancer while on death row in 2013. Number 2. John Hughes. John Hughes, also known as the Antichrist, was a self-proclaimed serial killer who unleashed a reign of terror. Hailing from Ohio, Hughes had a disturbing history of violence and criminal activities. His rap sheet included convictions for theft, illegal possession, and domestic violence. Hughes was notorious for his dangerous nature, with his propensity for violence only escalating over time. In September 2008, Hughes and his girlfriend Dana Tudor were involved in the demise of Valentine Carol Chuck, a 39-year-old trucker from Springfield, Missouri. Reports suggest that Tudor lured Carol Chuck into a rest stop bathroom, where Hughes mercilessly robbed and assassinated him at gunpoint. Hughes callously shot Carol Chuck in the head using a 9mm handgun, snatching his wallet containing $200 and a cell phone. Fate caught up with Hughes when he was later arrested for driving under the influence in York County, Nebraska. During the arrest, police discovered the same 9mm handgun, linking him to Carol Chuck's murder. Hughes would later admit to assassinating another man, David Durbin, in Zanesville, Ohio, and pilfering his firearm. He claimed to have assaulted as many as 15 to 20 people, although the veracity of his claims remains unclear. Throughout his trial, Hughes made chilling statements that peeled back the layers of his twisted mindset. When questioned about his crimes, he coldly retorted, "I don't mean to be a smartass about it, but you shouldn't try to fight with somebody with a gun." This callous response laid bare his lack of remorse and his willingness to employ violence to satisfy his desires. Hughes even referred to himself as the Antichrist, sporting a lion tattoo that he believed symbolized his superiority. With a biblical quote about the Antichrist adorning his skin, he delusionally saw himself as the chosen harbinger of the world's demise. Law enforcement officials and the media swiftly condemned Hughes for his diabolical actions. Plott County prosecutor Eric Zond described him as a vicious criminal who callously assassinated 2 innocent individuals within a fortnight. Zond stated, "For the safety of society, it is good that he will never live outside prison walls again." When questioned about his perspective on people, Hughes callously responded, "I just view things as objects. People, animals, trees, cars. They're all the same to me. I just feel that everything's pretty much on this earth to waste time." His lack of empathy and distorted worldview left a chilling impression. Number 3. Ted Bundy, the notorious American serial criminal, sent shivers down the spines of young women across the United States during the terrifying 1970s. While it was believed he brutally ended the lives of at least 30 women, the true count may be even higher. Born in Burlington, Vermont, Bundy's mysterious biological father was a secret his mother, Louise Bundy, chose to keep locked away. Although Bundy himself claimed his childhood was unremarkable, the press and authorities painted a portrait of a disturbed individual with a troubled upbringing. Bundy's true evil nature was laid bare through his savage killing spree, which spanned from 1974 until his capture in 1978. Employing cunning tactics, he would feign injury or disability to approach unsuspecting women, luring them to his car before subjecting them to unspeakable acts of violence. His preferred method involved using blunt objects to bludgeon his victims, followed by strangulation and disturbing acts upon their lifeless bodies. Thankfully, his reign of terror came crashing down when he was apprehended in Florida and finally faced trial for his unimaginable crimes. While in custody, Bundy shamelessly took part in interviews and media appearances, unveiling his manipulative and chilling personality. Showing not a hint of remorse for his heinous deeds, his calm demeanor and calculated words caused both the media and law enforcement to view him as nothing short of a monstrous entity. In one unsettling interview, Bundy shamelessly admitted that violent and destructive feelings had grown within him, eventually driving him to act upon them. His own words serve as a haunting testimony. "I can see how certain feelings and ideas developed in me, to the point where I began to act out on them. Certain very violent and very destructive feelings." Furthermore, he attempted to attribute his behavior to adult content, claiming it influenced his twisted psyche. Yet, the truth remains that such an excuse falls flat, as others can consume similar content without yielding to such dark impulses. Bundy also tried to elicit sympathy by discussing his troubled childhood, suggesting that he was irreparably broken from the start. Describing the indescribable horrors he committed, he portrayed his crimes as emerging from a nightmarish dream, asserting that reliving those moments through conversation proved incredibly challenging. However, the media and law enforcement saw through his desperate attempts at manipulation. They saw a cold-blooded and calculated assassin who skillfully played with the emotions of others to evade responsibility for his notorious acts. Number 4. Beth Thomas. Beth Thomas was a young girl whose psychotic tendencies sent shockwaves through the late 1980s. This bone-chilling story unfolds in the documentary Child of Rage, which delves into Beth's early childhood and the unfathomable crime she committed. Tragedy marked Beth's background as she fell victim to a brutal assault by her own flesh and blood, her biological father. Her parents eventually parted ways, and her mother remarried. Beth and her brother Jonathan settled into their new home with their mother and stepfather. But darkness lurked within Beth, as her behavior spiraled into a frightening frenzy. At the tender age of 6, Beth unleashed her violent tendencies upon her family. Her innocent brother became a frequent target of her wrath, instilling such fear in her parents that they resorted to locking her bedroom door at night. When questioned about this precaution, Beth chillingly revealed, "They don't want me to hurt John." Disturbingly, she openly confessed her sinister desire, stating, "I want to hurt my brother and take the life of my mommy and daddy. That's what I want to do with life." Beth's acts of savagery knew no bounds. On one occasion, she struck her brother's head with a hammer, causing him to require stitches. She also made multiple attempts to suffocate him. Desperate to find a solution, her parents sought help from various therapists and psychiatrists, but none could fathom the depths of her condition. The unimaginable horrors Beth inflicted upon her family were captured on film during the making of Child of Rage. Her chilling words resound with an eerie detachment as she calmly recounts her savage acts, stating, "I hit him with a hammer, and he had to go to the hospital and get stitches." Her words drip with a chilling absence of remorse or emotion. In one interview, when asked if people were afraid of her, a simple nod conveyed the chilling truth. And when questioned about who feared her and why, she replied, "John, because I hurt him so much." The media and law enforcement were rightfully aghast, thrusting Beth's case into the spotlight for all to witness. Theories surrounding her behavior varied, with some attributing it to the trauma she endured, while others believed she was innately born with a psychotic disposition. Beth's case serves as a stark reminder of the significance of recognizing and addressing mental health issues, even in the youngest of minds. After years of intense therapy and treatment, Beth managed to overcome her psychopathic tendencies, ultimately forging a path toward a healthy and fulfilling adult life. Number 5. Elizabeth Wettlaufer, a former Canadian registered nurse, plunged the nation into shock with her heinous acts. Inflicting her dark desires upon the vulnerable, she assisted 8 senior citizens and attempted to take the lives of 6 more by administering deadly doses of insulin. These atrocious crimes have been branded among the most abhorrent in Canadian history. Born in Ontario, Canada in 1967, Wettlaufer was the youngest of 3 siblings, born to a pair of teachers. After graduating from nursing school in 1995, she embarked on her career in long-term care facilities across Ontario. Over the span of 21 years, she wandered from one facility to another, leaving behind a trail of unsuspecting victims. Retirement homes and hospitals alike became hunting grounds for her malevolence. In 2007, a sinister voice crept into Wettlaufer's consciousness, compelling her to harm her own patients. She described this voice as originating from her stomach, oscillating between divine and demonic influences. Initially, she believed it to be a message from God, but eventually, she grew apprehensive that it was the voice of the devil himself. Despite her concerns, she callously continued injecting lethal insulin doses into her patients, convinced that the voice commanded her to do so. For several years, Wettlaufer's crimes went undetected, leaving a wake of devastation in her path. It wasn't until 2016 when she voluntarily admitted herself to a psychiatric hospital and confessed her sins. The veil of secrecy was lifted, and the truth emerged. She was promptly apprehended, facing charges of 8 counts of first-degree murder, 4 counts of attempted assassination, and 2 counts of aggravated assault. In 2017, Wettlaufer pleaded guilty to all charges, receiving a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. During interviews with law enforcement and mental health professionals, Wettlaufer provided chilling insights into her crimes. She described the red surge she experienced before harming her patients, relishing in the power and control she wielded over them. Troublingly, she claimed to hear a voice commanding her to inflict harm. While expressing remorse for her actions, her disturbing statements hinted at a lack of full comprehension regarding the gravity of her deeds. The nation recoiled in horror at Wettlaufer's monstrous acts, prompting a public inquiry into the safety and oversight of Ontario's long-term care facilities. This inquiry unveiled systemic failures that allowed her crimes to occur, leading to crucial recommendations to enhance patient safety. In the media, Wettlaufer has been aptly labeled a monster and a serial criminal. Her offenses epitomize a profound betrayal of the trust placed in healthcare professionals, provoking a nationwide dialogue on the treatment of elderly and vulnerable individuals within long-term care facilities. Number 6. Kevin Davis. Next up, we have the story of Kevin Davis, a 23-year-old man who committed the unthinkable, assassinating his own mother, Kimberly Hill, in March 2010. In a disturbing interview, Davis nonchalantly shared every horrifying detail of his heinous act, leaving us both disturbed and chilled to the core. From a young age, Davis grappled with a troubled childhood, plagued by mental health issues and the grip of substance abuse. His mother, Kimberly, tried desperately to find him the help he needed, but the path to the right treatment proved elusive. In a moment of despair, Davis reached out to his mother, expressing a desire to end his own life. Sadly, his plea fell on deaf ears, dismissed as if it were nothing more than a passing whim. Feeling rejected and unheard, Davis made the sinister decision to extinguish his mother's life instead. First, he attempted to strangle her with a cord from a video game console controller, but his efforts proved futile. Undeterred, Davis retrieved a hammer from a drawer in his mother's room, its innocent appearance hiding the malevolence that lurked within. With this weapon in hand, he mercilessly bludgeoned her, forever shattering the bond between mother and son. The details of the unspeakable acts Davis committed to his mother's lifeless body are too gruesome to articulate here. In a chilling moment during the interview, he callously stated, "Oh yeah, I lost my virginity to a corpse." The mere thought of such depravity is enough to send shivers down one's spine. Even as he recounted the brutal assassination of his own mother, Davis remained eerily devoid of emotion. His tone remained matter-of-fact, devoid of any remorse for the unspeakable act he had committed. He claimed that he wanted his mother to fight for him, to give him reason to live. When she failed to meet this expectation, he believed he had no other choice but to end her life. Davis's confession sent shockwaves through the media and law enforcement circles covering his case. His cold and calculated demeanor while describing the gruesome assassination of his own mother left many unsettled. It was a dark glimpse into the depth of his psychopathy, an unmistakable display of his true nature. As a result, he was handed a life sentence in prison without the possibility of parole, a fitting consequence for a crime so heinous, so incomprehensible. With that said, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. And if you found this content helpful, give the video a like. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.